Welcome to my channel, everyone. I have a new braid for you for the 2023 season. Say hello to the Peyton braid. That's P-E-Y-T-O-N. That is my oldest child's name. And for the next 3 braids that I come up with, I'm going to name them after my children. So again, say hello to the Peyton braid. I hope you enjoy it. First, let me start out by saying that I do not have any measurements right now. This silver and white one that I made, I will show that one in a later video, but I worked off the spool, but I did use a certain amount of the glitter, so you will see that. For video purposes and for learning purposes, I am using 3 different colors of ribbon. This is 9/16 inch width acetate or lustre ribbons, and I only cut them at 1 yard long because, again, this is just for learning purposes. I wanted to pick colors that would be easy for you to pay attention to and watch and know which ones I'm working with. So the green is going to be on the left, the yellow is in the middle, and the blue is on the right. And I am going to start this out just like Connie does on the military braids. Go ahead and make a loop and then staple that. And you want to make a loop with your left ribbon. So mine is the green ribbon. So your left ribbon, you want to make a loop and staple that. Next, let me give you a tip that I've learned. I've only made like 3 or 4 of these. So let me say what I have learned, and is the most important thing, is you want to leave these ribbons kind of loosey-goosey. You do not want to pull these ribbons snug. Okay, so I am starting with, again, I'm starting with the left ribbon, which is going to seem a little awkward. It is a little bit awkward. And I will tell you that making loops for each of these is going to be a little bit awkward because you kind of have to twist them a little bit to get them into the loops. So but it's a very simple design. You go from left to right. So you do your left ribbon, your middle ribbon, and then your right ribbon. So very simple. But as you're pulling, especially the right ribbon, the blue one, in my case is the blue one, you want to leave that more loosey-goosey. And I'm not saying like leave it like really, really loose, but don't pull it snug. It ends up changing the shape of the braid and it doesn't look good. So what you end up with when you finish, if you've done it correctly, you will end up with a kind of triangular shape. And you'll see that at the end. You may have noticed it at the beginning, but when you lay it down on a table, it's flat, but then at the top is like a point. So every time you turn it, it's flat, but then it's a point like a triangle would be, like you're laying it on the flat side and then it comes up like a pyramid. It's the only way I can describe, and I'll kind of point that out later. But you're just working back and forth from left to right and then start back over. Very simple. You can see these ribbons keep wanting to come undone. That was an issue I had with them. But again, you don't want to pull them too tight. And I will show you if you pull one or some of them too tight, like what it looks like. So again, you kind of want to pull on them, but don't do them tight. Leave them a little bit loosey-goosey, more so than you would, the military braids, you always kind of pull them snug, but not like over snug. This is going to be even looser than that. So don't follow what you would normally do with a military braid. Even though you're doing a military braid type of weaving, you want to leave them looser, but evenly. Like each one, make sure that you're leaving it the same amount of looseness, because it'll change the shape of it. So that's the only issue with this braid. That's the only difficult part of the braid. But if you pull any of them snugger than the other ones, you're going to see it at the end. So just be careful about that. And again, you can see I'm just going from left to right and then starting back over to the left. You go left, middle, right, and just keep going. And one of the wonderful things that I love about the ending of this braid, especially when you make a long one, it naturally twists. So you've got this neat little twisted braid. Because I made one for the senior silver and white mom, which I'm showing most of the, I'm trying to show everything that I make for that video, and I did make one of these for it. Like I said, I'm going to show that in a later video. And it does this wonderful twist, and it looks so good on the mum. I love it. So I think you'll be really happy with this braid. I would suggest playing around and practicing, and just do some ribbons like this. Pick some colors you don't use very often. Just do like a yard like I'm doing here, and do it, and then unravel it and start over, and just keep doing it until you've got it down, like the looseness and everything that you need. And then I just put a staple there, and you can see it was already starting to twist. I think I ended up with 12 inches. So a yard of ribbon made 12 inches. So you can kind of go by that with the math. And I was trying to show there, see how it's pointed? There's always going to be a pointed side up and a flat side down if you lay it on the table, but it kind of twists. It's not as pretty with 3 colors. I like it better with 2 colors. And then, you know, those colors aren't really what I would consider school colors. Now, something I'm doing in this video, a couple of things I'm doing in this video that I don't normally do, is I'm going to show you like me playing around with it and trying to figure things out. And that's what I was doing here. And I actually thought, I was kind of playing around with the braiding part. And then I thought, I wonder what it'll look like if you use like a Mobius type of braiding. And that's about where I'm at right now. I was like, maybe I should try a Mobius type braiding. So I'm going to show you real quick how it looked. I kind of liked it. It's a little bit of a mess on the back side, and then it makes it curl into a complete circle. So I don't know if you do a really long one, like how it would end up looking. It may end up being like really twisty. I don't know. I do want to play around with it and kind of figure that out. Another thing, I have not used anything but 9/16 inch width ribbons. So I have not played around with any other size ribbons yet. It is a plan for me to do so, and of course I'll show videos of that. But I wanted to get this braid out there and show you guys as soon as possible. I am not the type of person to come up with a new braid and then hoard that idea for myself and tease y'all with it and say, nope, sorry, you got to wait a year or 2 before I'll let you learn how to make it. That's just not me. If another mum maker does that, that's their business. That's just not how I am. I know Connie's the same way. TJ's the same way. We get excited. We want to share it. So that's, you know, I will try to figure out the measurements and other things, and how it, you know, if it turns out okay, like with the 7/8 cents and stuff, I will work on that kind of stuff. If you play around with this and you come up with some measurements, please comment on the video and let other people know so they can, you know, come up with some measurements of their own and give them some tips for that. I would really appreciate it. So again, I'm just doing the Mobius with this. And like I said, if you decide you want to try this braid, do what I'm doing here. And actually, the first time I made it, I just used some scrap pieces that I had cut, and I don't even know how long they were. I just played around with them. And I'm going to tell you something else that I did. I've never done this before in a video ever in 4.5 years. So when I decided to try and come up with something new, I videoed it. Because I've learned, and I did this for 2 reasons. I learned the hard way that sometimes when I come up with something new, I can't recreate it, or it takes me a while to remember how to recreate it, and I go through, you know, a lot of time playing around and trying to figure out how I did it. So I was smart. I was like, it was a lesson learned, hard lesson learned. I finally got smart about it and thought, okay, I'm going to turn on the camera, and if I come up with something, it'll be recorded and I can just watch it back and I'll know how to do it. So I was so glad that I did that. The second reason why I did that is honestly for proof of how I came up with this braid, and that I did come up with this braid and when I came up with this braid, because unfortunately, we have had issues in our community of mum makers, of people stealing our ideas, stealing our braids and calling them something else, and saying they're their ideas or someone else's ideas. And it's really unfortunate and sad. that there are some professional mum makers out there that are treating us this way, and I'm sure it's not just us, I'm sure it's other people, but they really like to pick on us because we give. Honestly, it's because we do tutorials for free. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but honestly, that's what it is, and it's unfortunate. But I'm putting it on this video for proof. Honestly, it's really sad that I have to do that, but I am. Because somebody else down the road will claim it as theirs, or that they already had that idea and that they already had it on their mums. Okay, right, I'm going to stop myself. Right there, you can see where I'm pointing. I had pulled that one too tight, and this was a previous braid. You know, I had to undo it and redo it. But you can see it just totally messed up the braid. So you got to be very, very careful about how snug and loosey-goosey you're doing them. Like I said, just try to make them all even. And don't over tighten that right ribbon. And that's just where I'm undoing it. So this is the original video. It is completely unedited. All I did was upload it. I have not edited it at all. I made it silent because I wasn't talking through it or anything. I just pushed record and I started playing. And you're going to see me doing all kinds of weird braiding here, trying to make something work. And at one point I come up with, I start out with one thing and then I end up with a spirit chain. And I was like, what am I doing? But at some point I made it work and I came up with this new braid. So you don't have to watch this part if you don't want to. I thought another reason why I put that up there too, there was a third reason, was I thought some people might be curious and find this interesting on how I come up with new ideas. This is just one way where I actually sit down purposely, or stand up in this case, and just start playing around until I come up with something. And so if you are interested in that, then go ahead and keep watching this. You might find it interesting. Again, you don't have to watch this part if you don't want to. You're not going to exactly learn from this part, but it may be interesting to you to see how I started it and figured it out. And I do like unravel it and redo it, I think a couple of times, just to get that, to make sure that I had it down, that I knew how to braid it. But the braiding technique to me is super easy. You know how to make a military braid, you know how to braid it, and you just go from left to right. Super simple. Only thing is how snug you make the ribbons. That's the only issue with it. I think that's pretty good braid to do, and you can work off the spool, which I also love. I love to work off the spool, not have to cut, because then you can make it the exact length you want it and not worry about it. Of course, if you want the shiny side, just like any other braid, if you want the shiny side showing on all parts of the braid, then you need to double up the ribbons. You do not have to double up the ribbons. You're still going to get a nice looking braid. That is up to you on how you want it to look, your budget, their budget, all of that issue like we talk about. So, but you don't have to do it to make it look really nice. You can still have a nice looking braid with just single ribbons. So however you want to do it works for me. It should work for you. I hope you enjoy this part. I'm going to end this now, and I will add some music to the rest of it for anybody that wants to continue watching, because there is another like 20 minutes left of this. So enjoy this. I hope you love this new braid. Again, this is the Peyton braid. I hope you guys will share it. Please put this all over Facebook and Pinterest and wherever else you do social media. I would appreciate you sharing that. Like, comment. Please be kind with those comments. Happy mum making, you guys. I hope y'all have a wonderful 2023 homecoming season, and then future seasons. I hope you guys are still using this braid and love it. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Thank you for your support, and y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you. bye.